I wasn't supposed to go that far out alone that day. Even now, sitting
Time to
here and
go.
telling you this, I can still feel the quiet hesitation I had when I untied the rope from the dock. It was early, too early for most boats to be moving, and the horizon looked like a thin line of dull silver, not yet touched by the sun. I remember thinking the ocean felt still. Not calm, but waiting. I've been fishing most of my life. I'm 39 now, raised along the coast, learned everything from my father before he passed. Deep sea fishing wasn't just work for me, it was a rhythm, a kind of conversation between me and the water. You learn to read it. The currents, the wind, the silence, they all speak, if you know how to listen. That morning, though, something felt off. Still, I went. The air smelled like salt and rust, mixed with that faint diesel scent from my old engine. The boat creaked under me as I pushed farther into open water, the coastline shrinking behind me until it was nothing but a dark smudge. The sky slowly turned from gray to pale orange, and for a while, everything felt normal again. Familiar. I set my lines just after sunrise. The water was deep there, so deep it turned from blue to almost black. You don't see the bottom in places like that. You don't even imagine it. It's just endless. I dropped the bait slowly, feeling the weight pull the line down through the cold layers of the ocean. My hands moved automatically, years of habit guiding me. Then came the waiting. Fishing at that depth is mostly patience. Hours of it. The kind of silence that starts to press against your ears until you can hear your own breathing louder than the waves. I sat there, sipping lukewarm tea from a metal flask, watching the line, watching the sky. Time stretched. And then it happened. At first, it was just a tug. Nothing unusual. I've felt thousands of those. But this one, it didn't feel right. It wasn't sharp or sudden, it was heavy. Like something had just decided to exist at the end of my line, something massive and slow. I straightened up, my fingers tightening around the rod. Another pull. Stronger this time. The reel gave a low, strained whine as the line began to move. Not fast, but steady. Deliberate. I frowned, adjusting my grip, testing the tension. Whatever was down there, it wasn't fighting yet. It was just there. And that's what made my chest tighten. I've caught big fish before, tuna, sailfish, even a small marlin once, but they always thrash, always panic. This was different. Then, without warning, the line snapped taut. The rod bent so hard I thought it would break in half. The reel screamed as the line tore out at terrifying speed. My hands burned instantly as I tried to control it, my boots sliding slightly on the damp deck. Easy, easy, I muttered, though I don't know who I was saying it to, myself or whatever was below. That's when it surged. The boat lurched forward, just slightly, but enough to make my stomach drop. Whatever I had hooked wasn't just pulling, it was dragging me. A marlin. It had to be. But not like any I'd ever seen. I braced my foot against the side, leaning back, using my weight to fight the pull. The rod vibrated violently in my hands, the line cutting through the water like a blade. My heart was hammering now, adrenaline flooding in, every sense sharpening. And then the ocean exploded. The marlin burst out of the water in front of me, and for a moment, I forgot how to breathe. It was enormous. Easily over 500 pounds, maybe more. Its long, spear-like bill sliced through the air as it twisted, its body glistening in shades of deep blue and silver. Water sprayed everywhere, catching the sunlight like shards of glass. And its eye. I saw its eye. Wide. Wild. Angry. It crashed back into the ocean with a thunderous splash, and the line jerked so hard it nearly ripped the rod from my hands. I stumbled forward, barely catching myself. God, I whispered, my voice shaking. I should have cut the line right then. That's the first rule when something feels wrong. You don't gamble with the ocean. You respect it. But I didn't. Greed, pride, call it what you want. I thought I could handle it. That mistake nearly killed me. The fight went on for what felt like hours, though it couldn't have been more than 20 minutes. The Marlin circled, dove deep, then surged upward again, each movement draining me. My arms ached, my hands were raw, and sweat mixed with salt water on my face. Then it changed. The line suddenly went slack. I blinked, confused, reeling in quickly to regain tension. For a brief second, I thought I'd lost it. And then the Marlin struck. It came out of nowhere, launching itself directly toward the boat. Not away. Not sideways. Toward me. I barely had time to react. Its massive body slammed against the side of the boat, the impact shaking everything. The rod was yanked from my grip, clattering across the deck. I staggered backward, my heart slamming against my ribs. And then the bill came through. That long, spear-like snout punched through the wooden side of the boat, splintering it like it was nothing. The sound, God, I still hear it sometimes, a deep, cracking tear that echoed in my skull. Water started pouring in immediately. Panic hit me like a wave. I scrambled forward, trying to grab the rod, but the line was still attached, still taut, and the Marlin thrashed violently just outside, its power shaking the entire boat. The hole it had made widened with every movement, jagged wood snapping under the pressure. Stop! Stop! I shouted, as if the creature could understand me. It couldn't. And it didn't. Another violent thrash, and the boat tilted. Water rushed across the deck, soaking my boots, making the surface slick. I slipped, crashing hard onto my side, the impact knocking the breath out of me. For a second, all I could hear was ringing. Then the cold hit. Water up to my knees now. I forced myself up, gasping, my hands shaking uncontrollably. Training kicked in, basic survival instincts. Assess. Act. Move. First, I grabbed my knife. Always keep it close. Always. The line was still connected, still pulling, still dangerous. If that Marlin dragged the boat under, or flipped it, I'd be tied to it. Dead in seconds. I crawled across the wet deck, each movement slow and deliberate, fighting the tilt of the boat. The Marlin thrashed again, and the line snapped tight, jerking the rod violently. I reached it. My fingers closed around the knife, and without hesitation, I slashed the line. It snapped free instantly. For a moment, everything went quiet. Too quiet. The Marlin disappeared beneath the surface, the water settling as if nothing had happened. But the damage was done. The hole in the hull was still there, and the water was still rising. Fast. I grabbed a spare cloth and tried to jam it into the hole, pressing with all my strength. It slowed the flow, but didn't stop it. Not even close. My breathing became ragged, shallow. I could feel panic clawing at my chest, trying to take over. No, I muttered. The pump. I stumbled toward it, slipping twice before reaching it. My hands fumbled as I started it up, the machine coughing before finally roaring to life. Water began to drain, but not fast enough. I was losing. That's when I saw it again. A shadow beneath the surface. Circling. My blood ran cold. The Marlin wasn't gone. It was still there. Watching. Waiting. I don't know if it was instinct or coincidence, but it stayed just out of sight, its presence a dark shape moving beneath the boat. Every now and then, I'd catch a glimpse of its massive body, its fin slicing through the water like a warning. I realized then. I wasn't just fighting to keep the boat afloat. I was being hunted. That thought, it changes you. I worked faster, forcing myself to stay focused. I reinforced the cloth with a piece of wood, wedging it into the hole as tightly as I could. My hands bled from splinters, but I didn't stop. Couldn't. The pump slowly started gaining ground. The water level dropped, inch by inch. Minutes passed. Or maybe longer. I don't know. Eventually, the shadow disappeared. The ocean went still again. But this time, it felt different. Not calm. Empty. I didn't move for a long time after that. Just stood there, soaked, shaking, listening to the hum of the pump and the distant sound of waves. When I finally turned the boat back toward shore, the sun was high, and the world looked normal again. Too normal. But I wasn't. I learned something out there that day. The ocean doesn't care how experienced you are. It doesn't care how many years you've survived. All it takes is one moment, one wrong decision, and you're gone. I should have cut that line the moment I felt something was off. I didn't. And I paid for it. I survived, yeah. I made it back. But ever since that day, whenever I step onto a boat and look out at that endless water, I remember that eyes staring back at me. And I listen more carefully now when the ocean goes quiet.